Good morning. Welcome to your first class. My name is Anirudh, and I'll be teaching you a new understanding of how the mind works to influence the body. A new way of learning about medicine, a new way of learning about diseases. And this type of understanding we're not really taught, whether it's in our health class or whether it's in when we go to the doctor. There's a specific linear way of how a disease is manifested in the body, or how a disease comes about in the body. A very logical way. There's a pathophysiology to how it happens. But that pathophysiology, that linear process doesn't take into account the mind. It doesn't take it into account how our psychological suffering or our psychological experiences, our memory, our environmental exposure, our thoughts sort of influence the cells in our body. And essentially, that whole psychological foundation that creates that physical disease. That's what I'll be teaching you in this class. So we'll start off with a few things. Firstly, I'll tell you about myself. So my name is Anirudh, and I've been learning Ayurvedic medicine and natural medicine for the past 10 or so years. I've pretty much grown up in New Zealand all my life, and I learned Ayurvedic medicine when I was in college, just learning by myself, having certain problems with my health and solving it through home remedies, through a lifestyle and diet, and kind of thinking like, wow, if this can help me, then it can help a lot of other people, right? And that led me on this journey of going to learn a degree in natural medicine. So I finished my natural medicine degree, and during my schooling years in university, there was a solid 3 years of clinical practice. So we ourselves had to go out and get clients and see clients throughout the whole year. And that happened 3 times. Plus, during COVID, I started taking patients online, helping them out for free. This was back in, I used to have this Instagram following that people used to read my posts and they used to want to consult me. So I did online consultations for free, and mainly it was towards an Indian market. But once I graduated, I started seeing people from New Zealand more. And all of this clinical practice, 4 or 5 years of clinical practice, I learned that there is this pattern that humans are sort of in. They're stuck in a loop. They think the same thoughts, they behave the same way, and hence they have the same diseases. When they go to the doctor tells them that this disease is caused by you're not drinking enough water, or you're not exercising, or you're eating the wrong oils, or you're eating too much junk or too much sugar. And that's where the conversation ends. But there is more to it. It's just not eating sugar. It's why are you eating sugar? What are the causes that are leading you to craving, like being addicted to sugar? So to that level of depth, I started to see these connections in how the mind affects the physical body, where if you look at placebo medicine, so every drug, all medicine supplements, most of them that go through rigorous clinical trials, they always go through the placebo trial. The placebo effect of the placebo medicine is your mind, it creates a belief. Your mind creates a belief that this particular medicine, so there's one medicine which is, you can call it sugar pill, and there's the original medicine. So there's the original medicines. There's 2 types of medicine that these 2 clinical trials. So clinical trial 1, and this one's 2. So these are 2 groups that get separated into, and one gets the sugar pill and the other one gets the original medicine. Now, what happens is your group 2 always gets the effect. 80% of the time, 90% of the time, always gets the same effect as the original drug. So you can call this drug, right? So And that's because the mind creates a belief that this medicine, even though it's a sugar pill, and they don't know that, the doctors or the scientists, they've disguised the medicine as a sugar pill. The mind creates a physiology that makes the medicine act as if it's the real thing. And that's how you know that if this medicine, if it's supposed to win, if it's supposed to work, then it has to beat that. It has to do the same thing as that. It's very profound if you think about it. If a lot of drugs and a lot of supplements are tested against the placebo, then you can for sure say that the original drug or the supplement will work because the placebo was successful. And you can almost say the placebo is sort of marketing or making the patients or the people who test the drugs on the patients, making them sort of believe and trust. Marketing leads to trust, and this creates the belief, right? So if you're looking at this therapeutic effect on the body, then it comes from trust. It comes from you believing in the medicine, or you believing in the fact that this will heal you or this will help you. So that's how powerful, as you can see, the mind is. If the mind can do that, then you have autonomy. You have complete control over how your body works. So you just have to understand your mind. You just have to understand what you're getting influenced by and what is controlling your belief system, what's shaping your thoughts, and what's leading you in a certain way, how you're living your life. What are the thoughts that go on in your mind constantly? All those patterns, all those loops create your destiny, create your life. So understanding that will help you decode your disease. And I have looked into a lot of diseases one by one. I continue to study that. So as part of this teaching that I'm doing right now, I'm also learning. So teaching is actually a two-way process. I learn with you. So if you have any questions, if you have any concerns, you can always comment on the video below and I'll try my best to answer it in the next video. I won't read all the comments, but whatever the comments come, I'll try my best to answer the most liked or the most important ones that I believe needs to be answered. Coming back to the mind. The past year, I've dedicated my whole time to understanding every disease and how every disease has a certain pattern that is caused by a psychological issue or a psychological concern or a thinking pattern. And that's what I'll be teaching you in these classes. There is this mind map that I'll go through each session. I'll teach you the thought process behind how I'm going to curate these classes. We have a problem, which is a disease, a concern, let's say asthma or type 2 diabetes or any sort of a health issue. That problem has either it may have a solution or it may not have a solution in the current medical system that we live in. Now, I'm not going to take anything away or I'm not going to disregard the medical system in any way because they are primary care. And if you have any sort of issues, if you have any sort of concerns, you should always consult them. This is a medical disclaimer, by the way. I'll be teaching you for educational purposes to help you understand how your mind and body work when there's a certain disease. Now, your beliefs have caused your healing. So we'll look at the problem and how the beliefs that you have are dangerous and are causing that certain condition. And apart from that, you'll learn how to break your thought patterns. You'll learn how to uncover the particular barriers or break through the barriers that you need to recover from your condition or disease. So the problem is you've been taught this way. This is your thinking right now. And that's why this leads to like a loop. Like you go around in circles. Like your thought starts here and it ends here and it goes here and then it goes there. And this is your mind. This is how your mind goes in loops. And it keeps going. Like until you reach a rabbit hole where you start believing that there is no cure or there is no solution to your disease. You end up in a massive ditch, you can say. We want to escape this. That's what I'm going to teach you. We're going to escape your thinking so you can be free from your disease. This is your disease. Your thoughts, your patterns of thinking are the same as your disease. The universe replicates itself. Your mind replicates itself. As above, so below. Principle number one for you. So when you go to the doctor, your doctor tells you your disease has started here from your diet, or a stress is one of the main causes, right? So stress or diet or lifestyle, whatever, right? And then the doctor gives you a pill. And then the pill is supposed to suppress the symptoms and not really solve the problem. So symptoms go away, right? Symptoms go away. But what happens is, because of the pill, it has side effects. So these side effects cause more problems. So you're stuck. You're here again. More symptoms and problems. Excuse my handwriting. And then you go back to the doctor. So this is your whole journey. And then you're stuck. So this is your doctor here and your symptoms here. And you're stuck in that loop until you just realize that you're going to die, or there's no cure, or there's surgery. Last point of saving yourself. This is the entire system right now, and this is your thought process. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to try and escape this. We're going to think backwards. If you've ever seen Ready Player One, I would highly encourage watching it because it teaches you game theory. Game theory is basically a concept of understanding how to win, what the game is, the rules, and the outcomes, the outcomes. So understanding game theory will allow you to gain power over your body and mind, give you autonomy over the game, which is your body and mind. So this is the game, right? If you watch Ready Player One, the first mission is actually there's a car and it's driving straight to this goalpost. And at the end of the goalpost, like right about here, there is a massive gorilla, or King Kong, you can say, that comes out. I don't know how to draw King Kong, but get the point. Yeah, massive King Kong that comes out, that stops and like bashes the car, or the car crashes into the King Kong, whatever, and you can't win. If you're going forward, you can never win. That's what Ready Player One teaches us. And it's funny because you might be thinking that I come from a scientific background, and why do I get involved in games or understanding game? Because this is a disease, and we have to conquer it. It's a game, right? That we have to look at everything as a game. Everything is like a puzzle. Like if you have a certain piece missing, you need to know why it's missing or where you can find that piece and then solve that puzzle. That's why every disease is a mystery. And we're going to crack that mystery, or we're going to solve that mystery through game theory or through cheating. Now, when I mention cheating, the best way to win, the best way to maximize your outcome is to cheat and to collaborate. Two things. Cheating doesn't necessarily mean doing the wrong thing. It also means hacking your mind or hacking your way through the system. So the first mission, the guy is on a car. He can't win because there's a King Kong that comes up every time. Now, what happens when he thinks about winning? Like, how can you win? There's always this. In that movie, they also talk about rules, and they also talk about certain codes that the game maker thought of, and that's how this person decodes the game. So everybody's thinking this way, right? Everybody's thinking this way. Everybody's gonna go through the same route, and they're not going to reach the goal. So you're not going to cure the disease. Because if diseases were getting cured, we live in such a abundant, scientific, innovative, one of the most, supposedly, one of the most advanced civilizations of human history, that you would imagine diseases and conditions, there should be a cure. Like, why is there no solution to things like type 2 diabetes, to things like asthma, things like obesity, and you just have symptomatic treatment? That's all there is. All the drugs, they're made to suppress your symptoms. They're made to make you numb from experiencing the pain. So this is your brain, and this is the pill, and this is you. Right? This is your brain. Now, when the pill goes in your gut, this is your gut. When the pill goes in your gut, it basically tells a signal to your brain that it needs to numb the neurotransmitters, or the signal gets numbed. So you won't experience the same pain because you've taken the pill. Now, coming back to Ready Player One, so car goalpost. Now that person who's in the car figures out, actually, what if I try, now there's a risk, what if I try go this way, opposite way? What if the person thinks, like, what if I go backwards, right? What if I go backwards? Everybody's going forward and no one's winning and there's no other way to win. So what if I just try go backwards? Now there's a risk in that. There's always a risk in cheating. So, but there is huge reward, right? So this person took the risk, gets in the car, goes backwards, and guess what happens? There's a door in the back. It opens, and the guy goes down the alleyway into a 3D, it's like a 3D underground connection. So there's a road here, and there's 3D connection. And that guy just drives straight to the goalpost, and he wins, right? So as you can see, it's game theory. If you cheat, if you think the opposite way, if you understand that this loop is never going to cure, or is never going to help you, is never going to overcome your disease, it's going to make you keep suffering forever, then what is another way? There must be another way. Your body, one thing I can tell you, Mother Nature and your body are designed to stay healthy. It's not designed to be sick. You're meant to have a perfect body. And I'll go into that. I'll go into understanding of a human being and how perfect the body is, how perfect the mind is, that there is no deviation at any point to the perfection of God or the universe or how nature has made us. So just like when you cut yourself, the body heals itself back. Just like when you get a bone fracture, your body will recover itself. Your neurons repair themselves. Everything happens in your body, and it's made to heal itself. It's made to recover itself. That's nature's design. But when you have a belief system that has been conditioned onto you, where you have to follow a certain way, where you have to go through this process of healing or this process of recovery, and you never find a solution. You never find a solution. You're always stuck. You're always stuck in an infinite loop, and it just goes down. It should make you think what is actually wrong. It actually makes a lot of people think, in fact, that are they doing anything wrong? And then they start self-sabotaging, which is like the complete opposite way of what is the solution to the problem, you know? If you look back in history, ancient civilizations were actually much smarter. They knew the truth of the human body. They knew how to heal. They knew by looking at the urine, they smelt the urine, and they could detect type 2 diabetes because the urine smells sweet, right? So back in the day, people were very conscious. They were very aware of their surroundings, their environment, the way they lived. They were in connection with nature. They were never on their phones. They were never boxed inside an office and just like mind is completely boxed up in front of a screen, and you're just like watching a screen all day long, reducing your eyesight, reducing your vision, reducing your ability to think forward. There's a whole connection that we've lost, that it's about time that we wake up to the mess that has been created and come out of that mess by understanding nature. So nature will be our mother. Nature will teach us how to be and how to recover from diseases, and we'll solely and only rely on nature and the universe. So even though I may present some theories, I may present some thought experiments that are unscientific, possibly, but they may be unscientific now, but 10 years down the line, science will start approving it. Just like, because I've studied Ayurvedic medicine. In Ayurvedic medicine, they say gut is the entire cause of your problem. All the conditions in your body, it starts with the gut. Now, after 5,000 years, like Ayurveda has been in human history for the 5,000 years, after just the 21st century, we've started uncovering the fact that probiotics, gut health is probably the most important thing, the gut-brain connection. So you would imagine what level of mind power, what level of human superconscious back in the day people had. And that's what I want to inculcate, or that's my purpose, to help people gain autonomy over their health by understanding the history of health. So through traditional medicines like Ayurvedic medicine. I don't know much about Chinese medicine, but I will probably start studying that as we go on this course. And I'll present that as well as a part of the correlations and the connections between traditional medicines, and how back in the day, people used to be very meditative on their body and their mind. And they used to, just through meditation, they used to recover from conditions. So silence was a super medicine in ancient civilizations. So coming back, this is the current way of thinking, right? Now, I'll go back to the mind map. The ego, which is your arrogance, your belief system, your mind, won't let you go into the depth, because this exposure to new thinking is something that, firstly, you hate learning. That's one thing, because schools made you hate learning. You don't like reading. You don't like doing a lot of things that are important, and you just like probably scrolling on social media or whatnot. So it's going to be very hard. And you obviously like consuming WhatsApp, university medicine knowledge. That's also one thing. So your ego is pretty much programmed to make you not believe in the fact that you can escape, in the fact that you can think backwards and come out of your disease. So you have to be mindful of that. If you're aware that your belief system is not programmed and you think a certain way, you can be free from that. You can see that this is your belief system and this is you, and you can kind of be aware to that. That's how you unlearn. Because you realize that you're wrong. You realize that you're incapable. You don't have knowledge, right? So the best way to learn is to ask questions. And since childhood, since schooling, the person who asks the most questions in school gets the most, it gets laughed at or gets called dumb. And that's a huge problem, because since that childhood, you've experienced that, and now you don't ask questions anymore. You're not curious anymore, and hence your learning ability stops. When your learning ability stops, you become a rock. You don't grow. You don't evolve. You don't reflect on yourself, and it becomes really hard. So it's very important, if you want to learn what I'm going to teach you, if you want to inculcate this thinking process, it's very important you challenge your belief systems through questioning, right? You question what I say as well here. Question everything I say, question everything I'll teach you, question everything systems and societies have built for you, whether they're the truth or not. whether they take you closer towards the truth or not. Question your gurus, question everything. So you come to your own conclusions. You live your life through your experience and what you know to be true. That's the best way to learn. Is if it comes into your consciousness, if it comes into your experience, then that's basically implanted in your mind. Whenever you want, you can kind of take that out and use it towards your benefit, your knowledge. This medicine comes from meditating on the craft, meditating on, and I'll give everything to you through a logical process. I'll teach you everything that I've learned from my experience. By the way, you can read all this through, so I won't cover everything. So, like I mentioned earlier, you've been brainwashed. The medical system is great for emergencies, but for everyday lifestyle diseases, it's actually, you can almost say, because the need is there, the demand is also there. So people don't take care of themselves because they're too busy chasing status. And when people are busy chasing status, because that's a part of society, status is also money, they take their health and their body for granted. And their body catches up. If they're doing a certain habit, for example, drinking every day because their job is too stressful, they drink every day, every day, every day. After 10 years, after 5 years, they get a fatty liver disease. So your body actually has a very long time frame till the disease comes. But within that time frame, because you keep repeating your habits, the symptoms start appearing, and that's when you go to the doctor. And now the doctor is there to suppress the symptom, to make you keep chasing status, keep chasing money, so you can avoid your body's signals and just keep going regardless. And then one day you just crash out. One day you get super fatigued, you start feeling dizzy and you just get unconscious, you get a stroke or whatever. So your body's very smart. It's only a certain time and break point that it reaches until it's too late. That's when the medical system comes in and tells you, stop drinking, go exercise. But it's too late. It's too late. Like the medicine can't even do anything at that point. It's too late to actually take care of your health when it's supposed to be taking care of your health. When it was easier, you took it for granted. But when the doctor's telling you, and it's that breaking point that you don't have any other option but to take care of your health, that's when you take care of your health. It just becomes so difficult. It becomes very hard. And you just suffer, just keep suffering, right? So, because you're chasing the wrong thing, you're chasing status. So that's another day's topic. I'll talk about that later. So every disease you encounter is a sign from Mother Nature that you need to change something. Since you're like I mentioned earlier, all your diseases that emerge from your body. I'm not talking about viruses or bacteria that you contract from outside. Even that, your skin is actually a complete immune system on your skin. So even bacteria and viruses are, if your immune system is strong, you won't catch it. So your thoughts influence your body, and all diseases have one cause. It's your thought. Even in your childhood, if your parents have an issue with the thinking process, it's going to get translated into you. It's going to get coded into you. So when you're born, you'll be born with asthma, you'll be born with disability. There's always a cause, which is thought, to your disease. I won't be covering too much of virus-led diseases, mainly lifestyle diseases, which emerge in the body, right? So that's what I will cover mainly, because you don't have control over your environment. And obviously, bacteria and viruses, although you can shield yourself, you can improve your immune system by reducing your stress and taking care of yourself, but you're still not guaranteed that you won't catch a virus or you won't catch some bacteria. So for now, each disease will be mainly to do with your lifestyle and emerging from your body. So that's one thing to keep in mind. There's a whole universe inside you. Your thoughts, feelings, emotions have a ripple effect on the 40 trillion cells inside. So imagine like the power you hold. We as humans have been boxed into our phones. We've forgotten our superpowers. We have forgotten that we're actually supposed to be great people, and we've been made to compare through the use of social media. We've been made to compare ourselves to other people, whereas each person is unique. And that has driven all sorts of insecurities within us, all sorts of depression, all sorts of sorrow, anxiety, misery. And you're just never happy because you live inside your phone, you live inside a box, inside a simulation, almost. And you don't realize that, like, that you yourself hold a lot of power, your mind holds a lot of power. Like you mentioned earlier, the placebo effect, your mind holds a lot of power. If you start believing in something, if you start nurturing your thoughts a certain way, you can really change your physical body. It's been possible throughout history. It's possible now. But because we're distracted, because we're made to compare, because society triggers our insecurities, and makes us drive after money, chase money, status, we lose connection with nature. We lose connection with ourselves. We are nature in the end, right? So we are nature. But when we lose that, when we disconnect from our mother, we start suffering, right? So what these classes will start doing is making you respect Mother Nature, making you respect your body, making you love your body, because it's so perfect, because it's insanely powerful. So the good news is you can change, and I'll talk about that. You have to disrupt your thought process to create, innovate a mind that best serves you if you face a disease. The framework of thinking about the disease is every week I'll be releasing 1 to 2 videos, and they will be diseases. So the first disease we'll start with is asthma. And it was just a random disease. Don't ask me why. First thing came to my mind. So we'll start with asthma, and we'll look at the current system around how asthma works, how the current system supports it, manages it, and we're going to question that. So the third stage is questioning, challenging the current status system, and then introducing new thought or thought experiments. In the case of looking at nature, how nature operates, looking at traditional medicine, how that operates, ancient history, and looking at current age. So the macro level and the micro level. We're going to look at both of that. I'll explain what that is in a later stage and you understand everything. But for now, this is a new start to human thinking, to not comply, to think differently and challenge what the current system is. Otherwise, we'll keep being stuck inside this massive rabbit hole. Everybody will keep suffering. The way to end suffering is to understand why you're suffering and what is that suffering? What is it teaching you? And being aware to it. Awareness is the key to health. Being with Mother Nature is the key to health. You'd almost notice this across the board. Go for a walk in the bush, go for a hike on a mountain, sit by the ocean, watch the waves of the ocean. You'll notice you become calm. You'll notice you ease out instantly, and you feel so good. Even when you meditate, you feel so good because your mind is empty. But because of society, your programming, your conditioning, you've become a slave. You become a slave to the system that holds power over you. So what we're going to do is we're going to escape. Through cheating, we're going to escape this system. I'll like to share this because I've grown up with a lot of stories. Since my childhood, I've been grateful to have a great family who've taught me Mahabharata, ancient texts like Mahabharata, Ramayana, ancient Hindu texts. And I've grown up in a Hindu family, and that has evolved my thinking. I use those stories as metaphors now because I understand that there's a hidden message behind each story. There was this Mahabharata, if you ever get to read it or if you ever get to watch it, there is this one, it's basically a war between brothers. It's a war between 1,000 brothers and 5 brothers. And the 5 brothers have one god, which is with them, who's Krishna. And the 5 brothers also have kids. They have sons. So the sons also go to war. And there's one scenario where this kid, who's Arjun, who's the main warrior, main brother in the fight, his kid goes to war, and there's a particular war strategy that happens in the war. So the war strategy is they make like a circle, right? The opposing team makes a circle, enemy team makes a circle, and within that circle, the son actually knows how to get in. So one way is to get in, the other way is to come out, right? So the son actually knows how to get in, and you have to, it's like breaking that circle, right? The son knows since childhood, since birth, how to break the circle, and that knowledge has actually come from his father, whose name is Arjun, and he knows how to break the circle. But Arjun also knows how to break free from the circle. But the story goes like this. When Arjun's son was in the womb of the mother, he heard half of the story from Arjun. So Arjun was actually explaining to the mother how to break free from the circle. You can call it the circle. It's actually called the Chakravyu, but I'll call it the circle. So Arjun was speaking to the mother, and the mother had the child in her room, and the father told him how to get into the circle, to get into the circle. And the child also heard, right? The child also heard that, but Arjun, for some reason, he got distracted by some other, you can call it soldier, who came up and started talking to him, whatever, but he got distracted. And so half of the information actually never went to the womb. Half of the information actually never went to his son. So the son only knows how to get in. Now, the reason why I'm explaining this story is because once in the war, once the son goes in, he doesn't know how to get out, and he dies. And Arjun, or his father, doesn't come to save him because Arjun is in a different war. There's a different attack somewhere else happening, and he's distracted there. But the reason why his son went into the war zone, or into the circle, is because he wanted to win. He wanted to kill all these major people inside the circle. These are all soldiers, and the major people go inside the circle. Now, his son actually doesn't know how to get out, so he dies, sadly. And it's actually it's a great war story if you ever read about it. It's called the Chakravyu, and the son's name is Abhimanyu. So he goes in and dies. And when I was thinking about this whole process, right, I was also thinking about now this is very abstract. Like, this is to the mind, like this is very different to how people think, but I always think in stories as well. So I always correlate, like, if people are stuck with their disease, how can they escape? They only know how to get the disease. The body only knows how to get the disease. And it's all killing the person, right, in the middle, because they don't know how to get out. So my whole thought process and my whole life's work, or my purpose, is to help you get out of suffering, is to help you make you free from the trap or the war zone that you're in currently, the loop that you're suffering in. So here's story for the end of the day, and also I hope you enjoyed the first class. I'll be telling you more about myself as well later down the line, my journey, how I came to be, whatever, later on. And next class, I'll be teaching you how to overcome or conquer asthma. We'll actually use these words: conquer, war, cheat, gain, because those are safer words. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next class.